thug slapped an 81-year-old veteran in a dinner. Then his son walked in with the Hells Angels. It was just another quiet Tuesday morning at Maggie's home-style dinner, a cozy wood-paneled eatery tucked between a hardware store and a laundromat in the sleepy town of Cedar Ridge, population 8,400. The scent of fresh coffee, sizzling bacon, and buttery pancakes filled the air. Regulars, retirees, farmers, truckers on break chatted over newspapers and steaming mugs. In the corner booth sat 81-year-old Walt Callahan, a decorated Korean War veteran, retired mechanic, and lifelong pillar of the community. He wore his jeans and shirt, 1951-53 and stitched in gold, and sipped his black coffee like he had every morning for the past 27 years. Walt was a quiet man, polite, humble, the kind who held doors open, tipped generously, and always asked how your kids were doing. He didn't talk much about the war, but those who knew him well understood the steel beneath his gentle demeanor. He'd seen hell overseas, survived it, came home, raised a family, built a life, and now, in his twilight years, he deserved peace. But peace was about to be shattered. If you believe in kindness and justice, please like, share, and subscribe to ACA Storytales for more heroic emotional stories. Your support helps us spread hope to millions. At 9:17 a.m., the bell above the diner door jingled sharply, not the friendly chime of a regular, but the aggressive slam of someone forcing their way in. Enter Tyler Razor Driscoll, late 20s, tattoos crawling up his neck, black t-shirt, known around town for petty theft, bar fights, and a general air of menace. He wasn't a customer. He was trouble looking for a stage. Razor strutted to the counter, snapped his fingers at the waitress, barked coffee. When she didn't move fast enough, he slammed his palm on the counter. I said now. The diner fell silent, eyes darted. No one wanted to be the one to say something, except Walt. From his booth, calm as a lake at dawn, Walt said, "Son, there's no need for that. She's doing her job." Razor turned slowly, his lip curling. "Who the hell asked you, old man?" Walt didn't flinch. Nobody did. But civility doesn't require an invitation. Razor scoffed, grabbed his coffee, then sauntered over to Walt's booth. He loomed over the old man, casting a shadow across the table. "You think you're tough? You think you're some kind of hero in that jacket?" Walt looked up, meeting Razor's glare with quiet dignity. "I think respect costs nothing, and you're running a deficit." That's when it happened. Without warning, Razor swung a hard, open-handed slap across Walt's face. The sound cracked through the diner like a gunshot. Coffee cups rattled. A woman gasped. Someone dropped a fork. Walt didn't cry out, didn't fall. He just sat there, stunned, a red handprint blooming on his weathered cheek. His eyes, though they didn't show fear, they showed something far more dangerous, disappointment. The kind only a man who's seen real evil can summon when confronted with petty cruelty. Razor smirked. "That's what you get for running your mouth, Grandpa." He turned to leave, but didn't get far, because at that exact moment, the front door of the diner burst open again. This time, it wasn't one man. It was 10, clad in black leather vests adorned with the unmistakable winged skull of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. The group filled the doorway like a storm rolling in, boots heavy on the linoleum, knuckles tattooed, beards thick, eyes sharp. At the front, towering over them all, was a man who looked like he'd been carved from granite, broad shoulders, shaved head, scar cutting through his left eyebrow. He wore a vest that read, "President, Cedar Ridge Charter." His name, Marcus Callahan, Walt's son. Marcus scanned the room in half a second. His gaze locked onto his father, the red mark on his face, the untouched coffee, the trembling waitress behind the counter. Then his eyes found Razor, frozen mid-step, coffee cup still in hand. The air in the diner turned to ice. Marcus didn't yell, didn't rush. He walked, slow, deliberate, toward Razor, like a sheriff approaching an outlaw at high noon. "Who," Marcus said, voice low but carrying like thunder, "was it that put their hands on my father?" Razor tried to play it cool. "Man, I don't know what you're." Marcus didn't let him finish. In one swift motion, he grabbed Razor by the throat and lifted him off the ground, coffee spilling everywhere. Razor's feet kicked uselessly in the air as Marcus leaned in, nose to nose. "I asked you a question." The Hells Angels behind him didn't move, didn't need to. Their presence alone was a wall of intimidation. One of them, a grizzled biker named Grinder, calmly pulled out a chair and sat down at the counter. "Coffee, please," he said politely to the terrified waitress. "2 sugars." Marcus lowered Razor to the ground, but kept a crushing grip on his collar. "You hit a U.S. Army veteran. a man who fought for this country while you were still shitting your diapers. You hit my father. In public, in front of witnesses. Razor's bravado evaporated. I didn't know. You didn't ask. Marcus cut him off. That's the problem. You don't think. You don't respect. You just take. And hurt. And run. He turned to the room. Anyone see what happened? Every hand went up. Even the cook peeked out from the kitchen. Spatula raised like a witness oath. Marcus nodded. Good. Then you'll all tell the police the truth, if it comes to that. He released Razor, who stumbled back, gasping. Now, you're going to apologize, on your knees to my father. Razor looked around, desperate for an out. There was none. The angels blocked the doors. The patrons were silent but resolute. Even the town sheriff, who'd just pulled up outside after a 911 call from the diner's owner, stood frozen at the window, hand hovering near his holster but making no move to intervene. Slowly, humiliated, Razor sank to his knees in front of Walt's booth. I'm sorry, he mumbled. Walt, still composed, looked down at him. I don't want your apology, son. I want you to learn. Violence doesn't make you strong. It makes you small. Marcus placed a hand on his father's shoulder. You okay, Pop? Walt reached up and squeezed his son's hand. Better now that you're here. What happened next shocked everyone. Instead of beating Razor to a pulp, which, given the circumstances, most expected, Marcus turned to his men. Grinder, chains. Grinder reached into his saddlebag and pulled out a measuring tape and a clipboard. Wait, what? Yep, turns out Marcus wasn't just president of the Cedar Ridge Hells Angels charter. He was also owner of Callahan & Sons Construction, the biggest contracting company in 3 counties. And Razor, he'd been hired and fired 2 weeks prior for stealing tools and mouthing off to the foreman. You're not getting your ass kicked today, Marcus said. You're getting a bill. He handed Razor the clipboard. You owe my father $5,000 for emotional distress, pain and suffering, and public humiliation. You owe my company $2,000 for stolen equipment. You'll work it off. Starting Monday, 6 a.m., you'll report to Grinder. You'll do whatever he says. No pay, just room and board until you've cleared the debt. If you run, we'll find you. And next time, we won't bring clipboards. Razor stared, mouth open. You're making me work. Yep, Marcus said. Hard labor, honest sweat. Maybe you'll learn the value of both. Then, in a move that brought tears to more than a few eyes, Marcus turned to his father. Pop, I know you didn't want me to join the club, but I did it for moments like this, to protect what matters, to stand up when no one else will. Walt stood slowly, wincing just a bit from the slap, and pulled his son into a tight hug. You're still my boy, he whispered. Club or no club, leather or flannel, you did good today. The video, recorded by a teenage busboy on his phone, hit YouTube that afternoon. Title, Thug slaps 81-year-old vet. Then his son walks in with the Hells Angels. Within 24 hours, it had 4 million views. Within 72 hours, 27 million. Comments flooded in. This is what justice looks like. The Hells Angels, more like Hell's Saints in this video. Walt is my new hero. That's power. Razor better show up Monday. I'll be checking. The local news picked it up. Then national. Then international. Good Morning America flew Walt and Marcus to New York for an interview. Ellen invited them. Even the Department of Veterans Affairs tweeted, "This is the respect our veterans deserve, always." Razor, he showed up Monday. 5:45 a.m. actually. Grinder put him on ditch-digging duty. No complaints. By week 3, he was helping carry lumber. By month 2, he apologized sincerely to Walt in person, over coffee at the diner. Walt forgave him, offered him a job at the VFW helping fix up the hall. And the Hells Angels, they became local legends, started a charity ride for veterans, donated to the food bank, ran toy drives at Christmas. Turns out, under the leather and ink, they were just a bunch of guys who believed in loyalty, honor, and protecting their own. A year later, the diner renamed its best-selling breakfast plate the Callahan Special. 2 eggs, hash browns, sausage, and a side of grits, served with a handwritten note. Respect is always on the menu. Walt still sits in his corner booth every morning. Only now folks stop by to shake his hand. Sometimes Marcus joins him, still in his vest, still flanked by brothers, but always with a smile for his dad. And Razor, he's still working for Callahan & Sons. Got his own tool belt now. Even started dating a nice girl who works at the library. He still flinches when he sees a Hells Angel, but now it's not from fear, it's from gratitude. Because sometimes justice doesn't come with sirens or handcuffs. Sometimes it rides in on a Harley and hands you a shovel. If you enjoyed this story, Please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of justice, redemption, and unexpected heroes. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in Walt's situation? Let us know. Thanks for watching.